afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. So Chris Coleman, last name is Coleman, the fire chief in North Attleboro. So for an update, we did have a anhydrous ammonia leak here at the Inman Corporation, which is to my left, at 10 o'clock this morning. They were doing some work in the building, dismantling a pipe for one of their processes on an annealing oven when they thought that the tank was off and they thought it was empty when it was not. As soon as they made the cut, the ammonia started to leak into the building. There was about 15 to 18 employees that were in the building at the time of the leak. They were evacuated. We did transport 7 people to local hospitals. We had 1 with critical injuries, but they are non-life-threatening injuries. We immediately called in the state hazmat team, which responds from the Department of Fire Services. They went to a tier 2 level, and they entered the building. They made sure that the building was safe. They metered the building. They also ensured that all the controls for the ammonia were turned off. We were told that an employee had stopped the leak prior to our arrival. We did send firefighters to the exterior of the building where the 1,000-gallon tank, anhydrous ammonia tank was, and we did turn off the emergency shut-off switch on the exterior. I originally reported it was 2,000 gallons, but it is 1,000 gallons of ammonia. At the time of the incident, there was no threat to the public. We did evacuate. To my left, we have 2 buildings down the way. We did evacuate those because inside the building there was a ventilation system that was activated, and it was pushing some of the ammonia out, but at very low levels. So we did evacuate those buildings. We also did meter those buildings to make sure they were safe before they did go back inside. We went to a second alarm, which brings in mutual aid from a variety of departments. I can get a list for you to tailor. It's very extensive. We did activate an EMS Plan 1, which gives us at least 5 ambulances, which was handled by our EMS captain, and we did transport to local hospitals. Right now, the situation is stable. The building is about to be turned over to the building owner. We've notified several agencies to include DEP, EPA, and OSHA, as this was a workplace incident. At this time, I'll take any questions you may have.
Earlier, you weren't sure if it was liquid or gas leaking. I'm sorry if you said it. Do you know?
So we believe, from what we've been told, it was a liquid into a system and then a vapor.
Okay.
That's what we were told.
So the leak was mostly vapor?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And so this is a photo frame shop?
It's a jewelry manufacturing. They do like gifts and jewelry, that kind of processes.
And so what would they need about 1,000 gallons of ammonia for?
That's still under investigation right now. It's exactly what they would need for that. The whole incident is still under investigation right now. As you can imagine, there are multiple different agencies involved with this, and each one has a piece to evaluate.
And you had said that the tank was not being used regularly, right?
So the tank allegedly was not being used for about 14 months.
Okay.
They originally said 10 years, but then it was found out to be that it was 14 months. There was an annealing oven which the ammonia tank feeds. That broke, and they were going to eventually get rid of that, which is why they had the plumber in today to start dismantling the process, and they thought that it was not active.
And so that was a plumber who doesn't work here, I assume?
Correct, yeah, they kind of went with a plumber to do the work, yes. Yep.
What were they doing, Chief? What was he taking apart an oven?
So they were working to take apart an oven, which is used in the metal processing systems.
And all 7 of those people were employees, you said?
All 7 were employees, yes. No firefighters were injured.
And that one man is expected to survive?
That one person is expected to survive, non-critical but non-life-threatening.
Was he burned? What was his?
He had some burns, yes.
Was it like one?
I'm not sure to what extent that was right now.
And what about the other people? Were they just?
They were all inhalation injuries. So ammonia is a toxic poison gas that does cause irritation into the lungs, into the eyes, which requires the hazmat team to enter in special suits. You probably saw, you may have seen, they were in class level A suits, which is fully encapsulating, which allows them to go into the atmosphere, evaluate it, and then ventilate the building.
Do you know roughly how much of that tank actually leaked?
We are estimating about a half. So we think about half of that went into the building itself.
Will they be able to come back tomorrow to work?
The building is closed indefinitely until the agencies finish their investigations.
Is there an estimate as to how long it might take?
There was no estimation on that, no.
Any final questions? Exactly how many people work here?
So we get a variety of numbers between 15 and 18. That's what they gave us for numbers. But upon our arrival, they were all outside and they were all confirmed to be safe.
So until this opens again, that's about 15 to 18 people who will not be working.
Yes, that is correct, yes.
And that's, you said that's indefinitely?
It's indefinitely until they can work with the agencies to make sure that the investigation is complete.
And you said you're at the point now where your process is done, you're turning it over to the other agencies, is that right?
So we're turning the building over to the building owner,
Okay.
and then all the other agents will be working with the tenant to make sure that they comply with their investigation and whatever information they ask from them.
But any threat that fire needed to be here for? is
Yeah,
fine.
no, so right now there is no threat. There's no threat to the public, no threat to the neighborhood. Obviously, we're in an industrial neighborhood, but just behind me is a very large neighborhood. There is no threat to the public. And there was no threat to the public even during the incident. It was very controlled, very under control by us and the hazmat team.
And the two buildings, they were evacuating in because the ammonia was leaking
So
out?
yeah, out the back side there were some fans, and they were sending the ammonia out, but in very low levels. And we had crews over there monitoring. And then before the hazmat team left, they did check out the buildings to the left to make sure that there were no readings and no odors in those buildings.
Are we looking at any violations in terms of the building owner?
So that's currently under investigation, and I probably won't have any answer for that because that falls on each individual agency.
Any last questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good night. Thank you. All right.
Chief.